The marble floor is cold, but Janelle's been cold for years. Tonight she's just a body carrying trays through a room that pretends she doesn't exist. She moves like a ghost through the grand ballroom of the Continental Hotel, her black uniform blending into the shadows between crystal chandeliers and men in $10,000 suits. The gala is all expensive, smiles and predatory energy, politicians laughing too loud, businessmen speaking too soft, private security stationed at every exit like sentries guarding a tomb. The air smells like imported cigars and old money, the kind that's been laundered so many times it doesn't even smell like blood anymore. Janelle Brooks is 26 and invisible. She's been working double shifts for 3 years, sending money home to Detroit, where her mother's dialysis treatments don't pay for themselves. She's overworked, underpaid, and perfectly forgettable. That's her survival strategy. In rooms like this, being seen is dangerous. Being remembered is worse. But tonight, someone sees her. Kang So-jin sits at table 7, positioned where he can watch both entrances and the service corridor. He's 38, Korean, and the kind of still that makes people nervous. No fidgeting, no unnecessary movement, just control wrapped in a charcoal suit that probably costs more than Janelle makes in 6 months. The other syndicate bosses talk and posture and drink. Kang just listens, his dark eyes tracking everything with the patience of a man who's never had to rush toward violence. It always comes to him eventually. His associates call him the conductor, not because he makes noise, but because he orchestrates silence. When Kang So-jin wants someone gone, they disappear so completely their own mothers stop looking. Janelle refills water glasses at his table, her movements practiced and efficient. She doesn't make eye contact. She learned that lesson her first week. Eye contact invites attention. Attention invites conversation. Conversation invites hands that wander and assumptions about what a black waitress might do for extra cash. But Kang's eyes follow her anyway. Not the way other men look, not with hunger or entitlement or that particular brand of cruelty that treats service workers like furniture with pulses. This is different. Evaluation, assessment. The way you'd study a chess piece you hadn't noticed before, suddenly realizing it controls more of the board than you thought. Janelle feels his gaze like pressure against her spine. She finishes pouring and moves to the next table, her heart beating slightly faster. She tells herself it's nothing. Rich men stare. Powerful men assume the world exists for their entertainment. She's refilling champagne flutes near the kitchen corridor when she notices the man in the navy suit. He's too focused on Kang's table, his movements slightly off rhythm with the room's choreography. His hand dips near Kang's water glass during a round of handshakes and manufactured laughter. Janelle sees it happen, the switch, the barely perceptible slide of one glass for another. Their eyes meet across the room. The man in navy, Janelle. His face goes flat, dangerous. She knows that look. She grew up with that look. It's the expression of a man realizing a witness exists, calculating how much of a problem she'll be, deciding how permanent the solution needs to be. Janelle turns away, pulse hammering, moving toward the kitchen like nothing happened, like she didn't see anything, like she's still invisible. But Kang So-jin is still watching, and now she's not sure which man terrifies her more, the one trying to kill him, or the one who noticed that she noticed. The whiskey hits his tongue and the room loses oxygen. It happens in the space between heartbeats. Kang So-jin's glass touches his lips, tilts, and then his entire body goes rigid. The crystal slips from his fingers, shattering against the marble in a sound like breaking bones. He staggers backward, one hand clutching his throat, the other reaching for nothing, grasping at air that won't come. The conversations die first, then the music, then everything except the wet, desperate sound of a man choking on his own breath. Guests step back, like he's contagious, like death might be catching if they stand too close. The private security freezes, hands hovering near weapons but not drawing, trained to protect, but suddenly uncertain what protection looks like when the threat is already inside the body. "Don't touch him," someone hisses. A woman in diamonds. Her voice carries the particular panic of the guilty. "It's a setup," another voice adds. Male, Nervous. We touch him. We're implicated. They're already calculating. Already protecting themselves. Already deciding that watching a man die is safer than being remembered as the last person who touched him. Janelle's tray crashes to the floor. She doesn't think. Thinking is a luxury for people who haven't watched their father collapse in a Detroit kitchen while neighbors debated whether calling 911 would bring immigration raids. Thinking is for people who don't know that hesitation kills faster than poison. She drops to her knees beside Kang, glass shards biting through her stockings. His eyes are wide, pupils blown, skin going gray at the edges. She supports his weight, one arm around his shoulders, the other hand on his chest, feeling for the stutter of his heartbeat beneath expensive fabric. Breathe, she says. Not a command. A lifeline. Slow. Through your nose. His fingers grip her wrist hard enough to bruise. The conductor, the man who orchestrates silence, who disappears people with a word, is clinging to a waitress like she's the only solid thing in a tilting world. No hospital. His voice is barely a rasp against her ear. Each word costs him. No. Ambulance. You're dying. Test. The word comes out broken. Just. Test. Janelle's blood goes cold. Around them, security is finally moving. Kang's men form a barrier, weapons drawn now, shouting into earpieces. The guests are being herded toward exits. Someone's crying. Someone else is on their phone, voice high and frantic. But Kang's breathing is evening out. Too controlled. Too deliberate. Janelle feels it, the shift. His grip on her wrist doesn't loosen, but the desperation bleeds out of it. His pupils contract. The gray tinge fades from his skin like stage makeup washing off. He's not dying. He never was. She tries to pull away. His hand tightens. Wait, he murmurs. For what? Her voice shakes with something that isn't fear anymore. For you to finish your performance? Kang So-jin stands. Smooth. Steady. Like a man who just took a pleasant nap instead of choking on what everyone assumed was poison. He releases her wrist but doesn't step back. The room is still chaos, guards shouting, guests panicking, but he's watching her with that same unnerving focus from before. Evaluating. Assessing. She stands too. Glass embedding deeper into her knees. Blood seeps through her stockings. Her hands are shaking. You stayed, he says quietly. Like it's a revelation. Like people staying is foreign to him. Janelle's fury ignites so fast, it burns through the shock. She thinks of her father. Blue lips. Strangers stepping over him to get to work on time. She thinks of every moment she's been invisible. Every time her humanity was optional. Every single time she's had to be twice as good for half the consideration. And this man, this monster in a charcoal suit, just used her compassion as a fucking experiment. It was a test, Kang confirms, reading her expression. No apology in his voice, just fact. I needed to know. Janelle's palm connects with his face before she can stop herself. The slap echoes. Every gun in the room swings toward her. Kang doesn't move, doesn't touch his reddening cheek, doesn't signal his men. He just stares at her with something that might be surprise, if men like him were capable of it. Then you're worse than them, Janelle says. Her voice is steady now, cold. At least poison is honest about what it does. She turns and walks toward the service corridor. Glass crunches under her shoes. Her knees throb. Her wrist aches where he gripped it. Behind her, Kang So-jin doesn't follow. But she can feel his eyes on her back all the way to the kitchen door. Tracking, calculating, already planning his next move. His eyes are too sharp for a dying man. Janelle replays it in the staff bathroom, hands braced against the sink, trying to stop shaking. The way his pupils contracted, the way his breathing smoothed out too perfectly, the way he stood like nothing had happened, no residual weakness, no trembling, no aftermath. Real poison doesn't work like that. Real death doesn't have an off switch. She picks glass from her knees with tweezers from her purse, each shard a small revenge. The cuts aren't deep, but they'll scar. Physical evidence of tonight. Proof that she knelt in broken crystal for a man who was never in danger. The bathroom door opens without a knock. Kang So-jin fills the doorway like he owns it, like women's spaces are just extensions of his territory. Get out! Janelle doesn't look up from her bleeding knees. You're hurt. Observation skills. Impressive. She drops another glass shard into the trash with a sharp clink. Is that why you run a syndicate? Because you notice obvious things? He steps inside, closes the door. The lock clicks with terrible finality. Janelle stands, ignoring the pain, putting the sink between them. She's 5'6" in flats. He's easily 6 feet of controlled violence. The bathroom shrinks around them. It wasn't personal, Kang says. Using someone's humanity against them is always personal. I needed to know who could be trusted. So you faked a poisoning. Janelle's laugh is sharp enough to cut. You let me think you were dying. You let me. Her voice cracks. She hates herself for it. My father died while people watched. I was 14. I begged strangers to help, and they stepped over him like trash. Something flickers across Kang's face. Brief, quickly controlled. I relived that tonight, Janelle continues. Every second of it. The fear, the helplessness, the rage at people who chose their comfort over someone's life. And you, she points at him, hand trembling. You orchestrated it. You turned my worst memory into your little social experiment. Yes. No deflection. No excuse. Just acknowledgement. The honesty is somehow worse than a lie would be. Why? The question tears out of her. Kang leans against the door, arms crossed. Because everyone in that room would have let me die. Everyone except you. He pauses. I needed to confirm what I already suspected. Which was? That you're the only person I've met in 5 years who isn't performing. Everyone else is an actor. You're just honest. Janelle feels sick. So you manipulated me to prove I can't be manipulated. Do you hear how insane that sounds? Yes. And you don't care. I care. His voice drops. I care that I was right about you. I care that you stayed when everyone else backed away. I care that you touched me when touching me could have gotten you killed. He pushes off the door, takes one step closer. I care that you're the first real thing I've encountered in a world made entirely of masks. I'm not a thing. Janelle's voice is ice. I'm not your experiment, or your validation, or your proof of concept. I'm a person who made a choice, based on human decency, and you weaponized it. I know. Then apologize. No. The refusal lands like a slap. Janelle stares at him, trying to understand what kind of man admits wrongdoing, but won't apologize for it. I won't apologize, Kang continues, because I'm not sorry I know the truth about you now. I'm not sorry I confirmed that genuine compassion still exists. I'm not sorry I found someone who chose principle over self-preservation. He meets her eyes. I'm only sorry it cost you something to teach me. That's not how apologies work. I don't apologize. I explain. He says it like it's a fundamental law of physics. Truth is currency. I just paid you. Janelle wants to hit him again. She wants to scream. She wants to demand he feel the full weight of what he's done, not just acknowledge it intellectually, but actually feel it. But Kang So-jin doesn't operate on feelings. He operates on information, strategy, control. You're a monster, she says quietly. Yes. You tested me like I was livestock. Yes. And you'd do it again. He considers this. No. Why not? Because now I know. Kang's expression doesn't change, but something in his voice shifts softer, almost vulnerable. I don't need to test you again. You've already shown me everything I needed to see. Janelle grabs her purse, moving toward the door. He doesn't stop her, but he doesn't move either, forcing her to squeeze past him in the narrow space. Her shoulder brushes his chest. She smells his cologne, cedar, and something darker, more expensive. Stay away from me, she says. I can't do that. She stops, hand on the doorknob. Why? Because you're the only honest person in my world, and monsters don't let go of rare things. He pauses. They protect them. Janelle yanks the door open and walks out without looking back. But his words follow her like a poison that has no antidote. They protect them. He doesn't apologize. He explains like truth is currency. Janelle finds him waiting by her car 3 hours later. Shift over. Knees bandaged. Fury settled into something colder and more sustainable than rage. Kang leans against her decade-old Honda like he belongs there. Expensive suit incongruous against rusted metal and a broken taillight. His security detail stands at a respectful distance, close enough to protect, far enough to give the illusion of privacy. I don't accept stalking as an apology substitute, Janelle says, keys clutched in her fist like a weapon. I'm not apologizing. I'm offering context. He straightens, hands in pockets, non-threatening posture that doesn't quite hide what he is. 5 minutes. Then I'll disappear if you want. She should say no. Should get in her car and drive away from this entire nightmare. But she's exhausted, and her knees hurt, and some terrible part of her wants to understand what kind of logic justifies using someone's decency against them. 4 minutes, she says. And you stay on that side of the car. Kang nods. Doesn't smile. I run an organization built on paranoia, leaks, betrayal, enemies I can't see until they've already poisoned the water. He speaks clinically, like discussing weather. For 3 months, someone's been feeding information to a rival syndicate. Someone close. Someone I trust or trusted. And that justifies. No. It explains. He cuts her off gently. I've been observing staff behavior for weeks. Security, drivers, servers, everyone who moves through spaces I occupy. His eyes find hers across the car's roof. You stood out. Because I'm black? The question is a challenge. Because you're consistent. No hesitation. Same routine every shift. Same interactions. Same careful distance from drama and politics. You don't gossip. Don't angle for better positions. Don't flirt with men who could advance your career. He tilts his head slightly. In a world where everyone wants something, you just want to do your job and leave. That's unusual. Janelle grips her keys harder. So you decided to fuck with me. I decided to confirm whether your consistency was strategy or character. He pauses. Most people who seem good are just good at pretending. I needed to know which you were. By making me think you were dying. By creating genuine stakes. Performance collapses under pressure. Character holds. Kang's voice is matter of fact. You held. That's manipulation. Yes. You're admitting it. I don't lie about what I am. He says it like a point of pride. Everyone wears masks. Politicians, businessmen, even waitresses who smile at men they hate. We're all performing survival. His expression doesn't change, but something in his tone hardens. The difference is, I'm honest about my dishonesty. I don't pretend the mask is my face. Janelle shakes her head. You think that makes you better? Being self-aware about being terrible? No. It makes me clear. Kang pulls an envelope from his jacket, sets it on the car roof. You have 2 options. Walk away with 6 months' salary as compensation for emotional distress. No strings. No contact. You never see me again. And option 2? Stay employed with security detail assigned to your protection. Increased pay. Debt cleared. He slides the envelope toward her. Someone tried to kill me tonight. They failed because you noticed what trained security missed. That makes you valuable. It also makes you a target. The words land like ice water. What? The man in the navy suit, the one who switched my glass, he saw you see him. Kang's voice is gentle now, almost apologetic. He'll assume you told me. He'll assume you're compromised. He'll eliminate the variable. Janelle's hand starts shaking again. You're saying I'm in danger because I helped you. You're in danger because you witnessed attempted murder. Helping me just made it personal. He nods toward the envelope. Option 1 removes you from the board entirely. New identity, new city, new life. I make you disappear in a way that keeps you safe. And option 2 keeps me in your world. Under my protection. Yes. She stares at him across the car, this man who tested her humanity, who admits manipulation without remorse, who speaks of violence like it's mathematics. This is still a cage, Janelle says quietly. You're just offering me a choice of bars. Run away scared or stay close supervised. Yes. You don't even pretend it's anything else. Why would I? Kang picks up the envelope, holds it out. Freedom without dignity is still a cage, but so is dignity without freedom. I'm offering you the choice, because taking it from you would prove I'm exactly what you called me. He pauses. A monster worse than the poison. Janelle takes the envelope, feels its weight. 6 months' salary. Maybe enough to get her mother through another year of treatment. Maybe enough to disappear somewhere the syndicate wars don't reach. I need time, she says. You have until morning. Kang steps back from the car. After that, the man in the navy suit will make the choice for you. He walks away without looking back. Security detail falling into formation around him. Janelle gets in her car and locks the doors. The envelope sits on her passenger seat like a loaded gun. The first collapse was fake, the second one isn't. It happens 48 hours later at a private meeting in a hotel penthouse. Janelle took option 2 not because she trusts Kang So-jin, but because running means her mother dies, and staying might mean she gets to choose how she survives. The security detail he assigned is professional, quiet. They don't touch her, but they're always their shadows at the edge of her periphery. She's still working gala shifts, but now she's also attending smaller meetings as what Kang calls observational staff. Translation: bait. The penthouse meeting is 8 people. Kang, 3 of his lieutenants, 2 rival syndicate representatives negotiating territory disputes, a lawyer, and Janelle, serving drinks and watching faces. She's learning the language of this world, the silences that mean disagreement, the smiles that promise violence, the casual way men discuss murder like quarterly earnings. The man in the navy suit isn't here, but his people are. She's refilling water glasses when the lawyer starts coughing. Not the dramatic choking from Kang's performance, this is worse. Wet, desperate. His face goes purple, veins bulging in his neck. He claws at his throat, knocking over his chair, crashing to the floor. Real poison. Real death. Security doesn't hesitate this time. Guns drawn. Shouting. The 2 rival representatives are slammed against the wall, hands zip-tied behind their backs. One of Kang's lieutenants is on the phone, voice clipped and urgent. Everyone's moving except Kang. He stands perfectly still, watching the lawyer convulse on the expensive carpet. Janelle drops to her knees beside the dying man. Don't! One of the guards reaches for her. Get the emergency kit. She's already checking his airway, turning him on his side so he doesn't aspirate. Now! The guard hesitates, looking at Kang. Do it! Kang's voice cuts through the chaos. The lawyer's lips are turning blue. His breathing is shallow, erratic. Janelle presses her fingers to his neck, pulse weak, but present. She rips open his collar, checking for injection marks. Anything that might indicate what kind of poison. The emergency kit arrives. She grabs the naloxone auto-injector, first opioid overdose is most common, and administers it to his thigh. Nothing happens. She tries atropine next. Still nothing. How long since he drank? She asks. 5 minutes, one of the lieutenants answers. Maybe less. What was in the glass? Whiskey. Same bottle we all drank from. Not the drink then. Something else. Janelle spots it residue on the lawyer's fingers. White powder. Almost invisible unless you're looking. Gloves, she snaps. Someone hands her latex gloves. She carefully swabs the residue, avoiding skin contact, and seals it in a bag from the medical kit. Get him to a hospital. Tell them suspected contact poison, unknown agent. Give them this sample. The guards move fast now, lifting the lawyer with practiced efficiency. He's still breathing barely, but he's alive. Janelle sits back on her heels, adrenaline crashing. Her hands are shaking. The room smells like fear and expensive cologne. Kang dismisses everyone except his most trusted lieutenant. The rival representatives are dragged out, still zip-tied, still protesting innocence. The penthouse empties in under 2 minutes. Then it's just Janelle and Kang and the blood stain on the carpet where a man almost died. You stayed, Kang says quietly. Same words as before. Different weight. He needed help. Janelle strips off the gloves, tosses them in the medical kit. That's not complicated. You exposed yourself to potential poison. Again, he's watching her with that unnerving focus. You didn't know if the powder was infectious. You didn't know if touching him would kill you. I wore gloves. After you'd already made contact. After you'd already committed. Kang moves closer, kneels beside her on the blood-stained carpet. Eye level. You risked yourself for someone you don't know. Someone who probably helped plan attacks against innocents. Someone who would have stepped over you if positions were reversed. Janelle meets his eyes. I don't base my humanity on whether people deserve it. That's not how compassion works. It should be. His voice is so soft, she almost doesn't hear it. In this world, that kind of principle gets you killed. Then maybe this world is the problem. Kang stares at her. His hands are covered in the lawyer's blood too. He helped lift the man, helped move him, but he didn't act first. Didn't think to help until Janelle was already on the floor, already fighting for a stranger's life. You stayed, he repeats. Twice. Stop saying that like it's extraordinary. It's just being human. It is extraordinary. Kang's expression cracks just slightly, just enough to let something vulnerable show through. You have no idea how rare you are. Janelle stands, legs unsteady. Her knees are bleeding again, the cuts from before reopened. She didn't even notice. Kang rises too, but doesn't move closer. Just watches as she gathers the medical kit, puts distance between them. The lawyer will live, he says. Thanks to you. Thanks to an ambulance and actual doctors. Thanks to you buying him time. Kang's hands flex at his sides. You're the only person in this room who acted like his life mattered. Janelle turns to look at him. Really look, past the expensive suit and the controlled violence and the reputation that makes grown men flinch. And what she sees is loneliness so profound it's become structural, weight-bearing, the foundation his entire existence is built on. What happened to you? She asks. Not accusatory, genuinely curious. What makes someone so shocked by basic decency? Kang doesn't answer, but the look in his eyes, brief, unguarded, tells her everything she needs to know. Someone taught him that compassion was weakness, that trust was suicide, that the only way to survive was to become the thing everyone else feared. And he believed them. The worst poison isn't in the drink, it's in the paperwork. Janelle doesn't go back to her apartment that night. Kang's security detail escorts her to a hotel-neutral territory, they call it, where she's supposed to wait until they verify the penthouse attack wasn't targeted at her specifically. She's lying in a bed that costs more per night than her monthly rent when her phone rings. Unknown number. Miss Brooks. The voice is professional, female, cold. This is Angela Chen from Continental Hospitality Services. We need to discuss your employment status. Janelle sits up. It's 2 a.m. Your recent behavior has created significant liability for our organization, involving yourself in guest medical emergencies, assaulting a client. I slapped him because he creating scenes that disrupt event flow. We have policies, Miss Brooks. Angela's tone sharpens. Policies you violated repeatedly. I helped someone who was dying. You overstepped your role. Servers serve. They don't play doctor. They don't involve themselves in guest affairs. A pause. We're terminating your employment, effective immediately. The words hit like a physical blow. You're firing me for helping someone. We're terminating you for breach of contract. Section 12, paragraph 4. Staff will maintain professional boundaries at all times. Section 18. Staff will not engage in physical altercations with guests under any circumstances. Angela sounds bored. You violated both. Multiple times. Janelle's hands start shaking. I need this job. My mother's medical bills. Should have thought of that before assaulting a client. Angela's voice turns cruel. Additionally, per your contract, early termination incurs a penalty. You owe us $8,000 for training costs, uniform deposits, and breach fees. 8,000? I don't have that kind of money. Then we'll garnish your wages from future employment. We have legal right per the contract you signed. A smile in her voice now. Enjoying this? You should have read the fine print, Miss Brooks. The call disconnects. Janelle sits in the dark hotel room, phone clutched in shaking hands, trying to process what just happened. They're not just firing her, they're trapping her. The debt will follow her to any new job, eating her wages, making it impossible to support her mother, impossible to escape. She pulls out the contract, the one she signed 3 years ago, desperate for any income when her mother's dialysis bills started swallowing everything. The pages are dense with legal language she didn't understand then and barely understands now. She remembers the eviction notice on the fridge and the hospital's red-stamped payment due letters, how desperation makes you sign anything that looks like a lifeline. But the terms are clear, brutal, designed to bind workers in perpetual debt. She's property, was always property, just didn't know it until she stepped out of line. Janelle is crying when someone knocks on her hotel room door. She checks the peephole through blurred vision. Kang's head of security. Miss Brooks, Mr. Kang requests your presence. Tell him I'm busy having a breakdown. He said you'd say that. He also said to tell you he knows about Angela Chen. Janelle opens the door. 20 minutes later, she's in a conference room, 3 floors down. Kang sits at the head of a long table, laptop open, reading something with the focused intensity of a predator studying prey. They fired you, he says without preamble. You're well informed. And they're demanding $8,000 in penalties. Janelle sits down, too exhausted for pride. Congratulations. You tested me, I failed by being helpful, and now I'm unemployed and in debt. Your experiment had consequences. Happy? Kang turns the laptop toward her. Did you read your contract before signing? I was desperate. My father had just died. I needed work. That's what they count on. He points to a highlighted section. This clause is illegal in this state. So is this one. And this entire section about wage garnishment violates labor law. He scrolls down. They've been exploiting workers for years, binding them with unenforceable debt. Knowing it's illegal doesn't make me less fired. No, but it makes them vulnerable. Kang closes the laptop. Angela Chen works for a shell company that owns Continental Hospitality Services. That shell company is owned by someone in the rival syndicate, the one currently trying to kill me. Janelle processes this. They fired me to punish you. They fired you because you made me notice you, because you became associated with me, because hurting you hurts me. He leans back. They're right. It does. So this is still about your syndicate war. I'm just collateral damage. You were collateral damage, past tense. Kang stands, walks to the window overlooking the city. I'm changing that. How? By removing the people who think they can exploit you. He says it casually. Like discussing grocery lists. Angela Chen will resign tomorrow. The shell company will dissolve. Continental Hospitality Services will be restructured under new ownership. Janelle stares at his back. You're going to, what? Kill people over an employment contract? I don't need to kill anyone. I just need to make them understand that touching you has consequences. He turns to face her. The contract you signed is void. The debt is eliminated. You're free. Just like that. Just like that. And what do you want in return? Because men like Kang So-jin don't give freedom without strings. Nothing. He says it so simply she almost believes him. No conditions, no obligations. You walk away clean if you want. Janelle stands, moving closer. Then why do I feel like you're asking for me anyway? Kang's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Caught. Seen. Because I am, he admits quietly. I'm asking without asking. Offering freedom while hoping you'll choose to stay. Giving you power while wanting you to give it back willingly. He exhales slowly. I'm trying to do this right. I don't know how. Right would be leaving me alone entirely. I can't. The confession sounds like it costs him. I thought I could. Thought giving you freedom would be enough, but I want... He stops. Starts again. I want you to choose me. Not because you're trapped, or desperate, or afraid, but because you see what I am and decide I'm worth the risk anyway. Janelle's throat tightens. You're asking me to choose a monster? Yes. To willingly enter your world. Yes. Why would I do that? Kang moves closer. Not touching. Just close enough that she can see the exhaustion under his control, the loneliness he carries like a second skeleton. Because I think you're tired of being invisible, he says softly. Because I think you're tired of being property. Because I think you want to be seen, really seen, by someone who understands what it costs to be good in a world that punishes goodness. He pauses. And because I'm the only person who's ever noticed you were extraordinary. Janelle's hands are shaking again. She should run, should take the freedom he's offering and disappear. But she's so tired of being invisible, so tired of surviving instead of living. I need time, she whispers. Take all you need. Kang steps back. The debt is gone regardless. The job offers remain regardless. Your freedom isn't conditional on your answer. He leaves her alone in the conference room, and Janelle sits in expensive silence, trying to decide if choosing to stay is freedom or just a prettier cage. Powerful men don't beg, but loneliness makes monsters reckless. Janelle finds the note slipped under her hotel door 3 days later. Heavy cardstock, expensive paper, just an address and a time. Midnight. No signature. Doesn't need one. She's learned things about Kang Sojin in the 72 hours since he freed her from a contract designed to make her property. Learned that he dismantled Continental Hospitality Services so thoroughly that Angela Chen fled the state. Learned that he paid off her mother's medical debt not as leverage, not to buy loyalty, but because he could and because Janelle mentioned it once in a moment of exhaustion. Learned that powerful men don't perform kindness unless they're buying something or hiding something. She doesn't know which this is. The address leads to a rooftop garden in a building Kang owns. Private, quiet. City lights spread below like fallen stars. He's waiting by the railing, suit jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up. He looks almost human in the darkness, almost vulnerable. You came, he says without turning. I'm curious. Janelle keeps her distance. Powerful men don't send mysterious midnight summons unless they want something. I wanted to tell you the truth. Kang finally looks at her. Without security, without performance, just truth. You've been honest before. I've been factual. That's different. He turns back to the city. I didn't just test you in that ballroom. I tested myself. Janelle moves closer, despite every instinct telling her to run. What do you mean? I've spent 15 years becoming what this world required. Cold, calculating, willing to sacrifice anything, anyone, for survival and power. His voice is quiet, exhausted. I told myself compassion was weakness, that trust was suicide, that the only way to survive was to become the thing everyone else feared. And you believed it. I had to. Kang's hands gripped the railing. My mother died because someone she trusted poisoned her wine at a family dinner. I was 12. I watched her choke while relatives debated whether calling an ambulance would expose illegal activity. He exhales slowly. She died while people who claimed to love her chose self-preservation over her life. Janelle's breath catches. I decided that night that I would never be vulnerable again. Never trust anyone. Never let compassion make me hesitate. He turns to face her fully now. I became exactly what this world demanded. And I was good at it. Too good. Until I watched you kneel in broken glass for a stranger. Until I watched you risk contamination for a man who would have let you die. Until I realized, his voice cracks slightly, that I'd become the thing I hated most. The person who watches someone suffer and calculates whether helping is strategically sound. Janelle's throat tightens. You're ashamed. I'm horrified. Kang's expression is raw now, unguarded. It took faking my own death to find one honest person. It took manipulation to discover that genuine compassion still exists. And when I found you, my first instinct was to test whether it was real or performance. He laughs bitterly. I'm so broken I can't recognize goodness without suspecting it's a trap. So what do you want from me? Janelle asks softly. Absolution? Redemption? Someone to prove you're still human? I want partnership. The word sounds foreign in his mouth. Not ownership, not obligation, not a transaction. He moves closer, careful not to crowd her. I want someone who sees what I am, all of it, the violence and the calculation and the damage, and chooses to stay anyway. Not because they're trapped or bought or afraid, but because they believe I can be better than what I've become. That's asking a lot. I know. You're asking me to trust a monster who admits he's a monster. Yes. To enter your world knowing it might destroy me. Yes. Kang's eyes search hers, but I'm also offering everything I have. Protection, resources, truth, the freedom to leave anytime you want. He pauses. And the promise that I will actually try to be someone worthy of your choice. Janelle studies him in the darkness. This man who orchestrates silence, who makes people disappear, who admits manipulation without apology. This man who freed her from debt without conditions, who sees her when everyone else looks through her, who's so starved for genuine connection he had to fake death to find it. Are you human? She asks quietly. Or just a man who knows how to fake it? The question lands like a blow. She watches him absorb it, the doubt, the challenge, the core of what she's really asking. Can you actually change, or are you just performing vulnerability the way you perform everything else? Kang doesn't answer immediately. When he does, his voice is barely above a whisper. I don't know anymore. The confession sounds like it's killing him. I've been faking humanity for so long, I'm not sure where the performance ends and the person begins. I know how to simulate compassion. I know which words make people trust me. I know how to weaponize vulnerability. He meets her eyes. But with you, he stops. Starts again. With you, I want it to be real. I just don't know if I remember how. Then learn. Janelle's voice is steady now. If you want me to choose you, prove you're choosing to be better. Not perfectly, not immediately, but actively, consistently. And if I fail, then I leave. And you let me go without consequences. Kang nods slowly. Come here at midnight tomorrow. If you say no, if you walk away, I disappear. No contact, no interference, no attempts to change your mind. He extends his hand. But if you say yes, you get all of me. The truth, the damage, the effort to be better, everything. Janelle looks at his outstretched hand. She should say no. Should run from this man who tests people like experiments, who admits he doesn't know if his humanity is real or performed. But she's so tired of being invisible, so tired of men who pretend to be good while being mediocre. At least Kang is honest about what he is. At least he's willing to try. She doesn't take his hand. Not yet. Midnight tomorrow, she says. I'll give you my answer then. Kang lowers his hand, nods, doesn't argue or plead or try to manipulate her choice. And somehow that his restraint, his respect for her timeline, tells her more about his capacity for change than any promise could. She leaves him alone in the rooftop garden. Tomorrow at midnight, she'll decide if monsters can learn to be human, or if she's just fooling herself into believing redemption is possible. They laugh at her because she's black, because she served tables until she opens her mouth. The meeting happens in a private club that smells like cigar smoke and old violence. Kang brings her as what he calls an observer, someone learning the language of his world, understanding the dynamics that keep it spinning. 8 syndicate bosses around a table, territorial disputes, trade agreements, the casual discussion of murder as business strategy. Janelle sits in the corner, wearing professional clothes that don't quite fit the room's aesthetic of wealth and menace. She's the only woman, the only black person, the only one who didn't arrive with armed security. She knows what they think of her, can see it in the sideways glances, the smirks, The way they speak freely, because they don't consider her a threat worth acknowledging. The rival boss, Marcus Lau, the one whose organization tried to poison Kang, arrives late, makes an entrance. All swagger and expensive watch, and the particular arrogance of men who've never faced real consequences. His eyes land on Janelle. Linger. Assess. Kang! His voice carries across the room. You bringing entertainment now? Didn't realize these meetings had gotten so informal. The room goes quiet. Kang's expression doesn't change, but Janelle feels the temperature drop. Miss Brooks is here in a professional capacity, Kang says evenly. Professional. Marcus laughs. Right. And what profession is that exactly? You running a charity now? Hiring waitresses to take notes? The other bosses shift uncomfortably. This is dangerous territory, not because insulting service workers violates some code, but because insulting Kang's choices is a direct challenge to his authority. Janelle stands before Kang can respond. All eyes turn to her. I was a waitress, she says clearly, for 3 years. Served men like you at galas, where you pretended wealth made you civilized. Marcus's smile widens. And now you're what? Kang's pet project? His charity case? Now I'm someone who understands how this world actually works. Janelle moves into the light, away from the shadows. You think service workers are invisible. You think we don't see, don't hear, don't matter. She pauses. That's your first mistake. And what's my second? Marcus is enjoying this, thinks it's theater. Assuming I'm here because Kang feels sorry for me. Janelle's voice stays calm, precise. I'm here because I noticed what your people tried to hide. Because I saw the man in the navy suit switch a glass while your trained security watched and did nothing. Because I'm the one who kept your poisoning attempt from working. The enjoyment drains from Marcus's face. You think insulting me is risk-free, Janelle continues. You think making racist jokes and patronizing comments proves you're powerful. But all it proves is that you're lazy, arrogant, so convinced of your superiority that you don't notice the waitress watching you plan murders. Don't notice the server who remembers every face that came through those gala doors. Don't notice that the people you treat like furniture have been documenting your mistakes for years. She lets the words land. Watches Marcus's expression shift from amusement to calculation to something approaching respect. You want to know why Kang brought me? Janelle's voice is quieter now, but no less powerful. Because I see things you've trained yourselves to ignore. Because I'm the person you underestimate right up until the moment that underestimation kills you. She pauses. And because, unlike everyone else at this table, I'm not performing. This is just who I am. The room is absolutely silent. Marcus Lau stares at her, really stares like he's seeing her for the first time. Then he smiles. Thin, sharp, dangerous, pretty speech, he says softly. Let's see if you survive it. It's not a threat, it's a promise. Kang stands. We're done here. We haven't finished discussing territory. We're done. Kang's voice cuts through any objection. Miss Brooks has made more valuable contributions in 3 minutes than this table has managed in 3 hours. I suggest you all consider what that says about your effectiveness. He walks out. Janelle follows, heart pounding but spine straight. In the hallway, Kang stops, turns to look at her. You didn't need me to defend you, he says quietly. No. Janelle's hands are shaking now that the adrenaline is fading. But you stood up anyway. You stood up first. Something like pride flickers across his expression. You're not just kind. You're formidable. Is that what you wanted? Someone formidable? I wanted someone real. Kang moves closer. I got someone extraordinary. Before Janelle can respond, one of his security team approaches. Phone extended. Sir, Marcus Lau is calling. Kang takes the phone. Listens. His expression hardens. Understood. He hangs up. Looks at Janelle. He's calling a vote. Wants me removed as territory mediator. Claims I'm compromised by personal attachments. Because of me. Because of you. Kang doesn't look angry. Just tired. He's right. I am compromised. I care about you more than I care about strategic alliances. That makes me vulnerable. Janelle's chest tightens. I'm sorry. Don't apologize for making me human again. Kang's voice is soft. Apologize if you decide that's not worth the cost. They stand in the hallway, surrounded by the architecture of violence, and Janelle realizes she's already made her choice. Not because Kang is good, he isn't. Not because his world is safe, it's deadly. But because he's the first person who's ever looked at her and seen someone worth protecting, worth defending, worth risking everything for. Midnight tomorrow, she says quietly. I'll give you my answer. Kang nods. But they both already know what she's going to say. He expected compassion. He didn't expect principle. The betrayer is revealed on a Wednesday. Someone close. Someone trusted. Someone Kang considered family. His cousin. The one who helped raise him after his mother died. The one who taught him the business. The one who's been feeding information to Marcus Lau for 18 months. Janelle learns about it when Kang shows up at her apartment at 3 a.m, suit disheveled, eyes hollow. She opens the door in pajamas and immediately knows something fundamental has broken. He's in the basement, Kang says without preamble. I have 2 hours to decide what to do with him. Janelle lets him in. Makes tea neither of them drink. Waits. He admitted everything, Kang finally says. Sold us out because he thought I was getting weak. Thought my mother's compassion was infecting me. Decided the organization needed harder leadership. What are you going to do? What I always do. His voice is flat, empty. Make an example. Show everyone what happens when you betray me. Make sure no one ever thinks twice about loyalty again. Janelle sets down her tea. And what does that look like? You don't want to know. Yes, I do. Kang looks at her, then really looks. He dies. Painfully. Publicly. In a way that makes everyone understand that betraying me is worse than death. That's the plan? That's the business. Janelle stands. Walks to him. Kneels, so they're eye level. And is that who you want to be? She asks quietly. The man who tortures family members to prove a point? The monster who chooses fear over mercy every single time? It's what keeps us safe. It's what keeps you alone. Her voice is gentle but firm. You told me you wanted to be better. That you'd try. That you'd choose humanity over habit. She pauses. This is that choice. Right now. This moment. Kang's hands start shaking. If I show mercy, they'll think I'm weak. Marcus will use it. Others will test boundaries. The whole structure collapses. Then rebuild it differently. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Janelle takes his shaking hands in hers. I understand you're terrified of being vulnerable. I understand this world taught you that mercy is weakness. I understand you think cruelty is the only language power speaks. She squeezes his hands. But I also understand that you're exhausted. That you're tired of being the monster. That you desperately want to be someone who can love, without it being a liability. Kang's breath hitches. He betrayed me. Betrayed the family. Betrayed everything. Then let him live with that. Janelle's voice is steady. Exile him. Strip his power. Make him irrelevant. But don't become the thing you hate, just to prove you're still feared. If I let him live, then you prove mercy is stronger than terror. You prove you're capable of growth. You prove you're not your trauma. She pauses. You prove I was right to choose you. The words land like an earthquake. Kang stares at her. You're choosing me? I came to the rooftop at midnight last night. You weren't there. Janelle's voice is soft. You were dealing with this betrayal, with this choice, and I realized. She swallows hard. I realized I'd already decided. Days ago. Maybe the moment you freed me from that contract without conditions. You're choosing me, Kang repeats. Like he can't quite believe it. But not the version of you that tortures family members. Not the version that chooses violence every time fear whispers in your ear. Janelle holds his gaze. I'm choosing the man who's trying to be better, who's willing to be vulnerable, who admitted he doesn't know if his humanity is real, but wants it to be. Tears slip down Kang's face. Silent. Unstoppable. Janelle has never seen him cry. Didn't think he could. I don't know how to show mercy without it destroying everything, he whispers. Then learn. With me. Together. She stands, pulling him up with her. Let him go. Set him up somewhere safe. Make it clear betrayal has consequences, but those consequences don't have to be death. She pauses. Show your organization that strength looks like restraint. That real power is choosing not to hurt someone when you could. Kang's whole body is shaking now. They'll see it as weakness. Let them. The ones who matter will see it as evolution. Janelle cups his face in her hands. And I'll be right there beside you, proving that compassion doesn't make you vulnerable, it makes you human. He breaks then, completely. Folds into her, like she's the only solid thing in a collapsing world. And Janelle holds him while he sobs. This man, who orchestrates silence, who makes people disappear, who spent 15 years becoming exactly what trauma demanded. She holds him while he cries for his mother, for the boy who watched her die. For every moment, he chose cruelty because gentleness seemed impossible. When he finally pulls back, eyes red and swollen, he looks younger, less certain, more real. I'm setting him up with a business in another city, Kang says quietly, cutting all ties. Making it clear he's exiled but alive. He pauses. It goes against everything I know, everything this world taught me. Good. Janelle smiles. That means you're finally learning something better. Kang pulls an envelope from his jacket. Different from the one before, smaller, more personal. I was going to give you this last night. At midnight. He hands it to her. Freedom plus future. Education fund. Business, startup capital. Everything you need to build a life, completely separate from my world. He pauses. No strings. No conditions. Whether you choose me or not. Janelle opens the envelope. Stares at the numbers. Enough to finish her degree. Start the non-profit she's always dreamed about. Give her mother security for life. Enough to walk away and never look back. You're still offering me freedom, she says softly. Always. Kang's voice is firm. I don't want you because you need me. I want you because you choose me. There's a difference. Janelle sets the envelope on the table. Then she takes his face in her hands and kisses him. It's not gentle, not careful. It's claiming and choosing and saying yes to every dangerous, beautiful, terrifying possibility he represents. When they break apart, both breathing hard, Kang's expression is wonder. You're staying, he whispers. I'm staying. Janelle's voice is steady. But on my terms. I don't become part of your violence. I don't compromise my principles. I don't pretend your world is anything other than what it is. Agreed. And you don't stop trying to be better. Even when it's hard. Even when it costs you. Even when this world tells you mercy is weakness. Agreed. Kang's hands tighten on her waist. Anything else? Yeah. Janelle smiles. If you want me, earn me. Without fear. No tests. No manipulation. No using my compassion as a weapon. She pauses. Just show up. Be honest. Try. That's all I'm asking. Kang rests his forehead against hers. That's everything I don't know how to do. Then we'll learn together. They stand in her small apartment as dawn breaks over the city, a monster learning to be human and a waitress who refused to be invisible. It's not a fairy tale. There's no guarantee this works. No promise that mercy won't destroy them both. But for the first time in 15 years, Kang So-jin believes transformation might be possible. Because the black waitress no one sees looked at him, really looked, and decided he was worth saving. Not from his enemies, from himself.